Imagine a moment when the United States stood on the razor's edge of technological collapse. A silent threat so close to devastating our entire electrical infrastructure that if a few critical systems had failed just slightly differently, millions of Americans would have been thrust into a darkness that could have rewritten the very fabric of modern civilization. This isn't a scene from a dystopian movie. This is a true story that most Americans have never heard. The day our power grid came within minutes of a complete nationwide shutdown that would have sent us spiraling back to a pre-technological era. The story begins on a seemingly ordinary day, August 14, 2003. Most Americans woke up that morning with no idea that they were about to experience the largest blackout in North American history. What started as a minor technical glitch in Ohio would quickly cascade into a massive power failure that would expose the fragile underbelly of America's electrical infrastructure. At 2:14 p.m. Eastern Time, something went wrong in a power plant near Cleveland. A software bug in the alarm system at First Energy Corporation would become the first domino in a catastrophic chain reaction. The initial problem seemed minor, a simple failure to redistribute power around overloaded transmission lines. But in the complex, interconnected world of electrical grids, minor problems can quickly become catastrophic. Dr. Michael Weber, an energy expert from the University of Texas, would later describe it as a perfect storm of technological vulnerabilities. The electrical grid, he explains, is less like a robust system and more like a delicate house of cards. One small push in the wrong place and everything comes tumbling down. Within hours, over 50 million people across the northeastern United States and parts of Canada found themselves without power. Major cities went dark. New York City, the beating heart of American commerce, ground to a complete halt. Traffic lights went out. Subway systems stopped. Millions of people were stranded. The economic impact was staggering. Estimates suggest the blackout cost approximately $6 billion in lost productivity and economic activity. But the true cost was far more profound. It exposed the fundamental weaknesses in America's electrical infrastructure. What most people don't understand is how close we came to a complete irreversible system collapse. The power grid is a delicate balance of supply and demand, constantly adjusted in real time. When that balance is disrupted, the consequences can be catastrophic. In those critical hours, the entire electrical system of the northeastern United States was just moments away from a total breakdown that could have taken weeks or even months to fully restore. Imagine a world where every critical system goes dark simultaneously. Hospitals lose power, water treatment plants shut down, communication networks collapse, the transportation system becomes paralyzed. This wasn't just a potential scenario, it was minutes away from becoming a reality. The root cause was both simple and terrifying, a combination of outdated software, inadequate monitoring systems, and an electrical infrastructure that had been neglected for decades. The electrical grid we depend on was designed in an era of typewriters and rotary phones. Now, it supports a hyper-connected civilization that relies on electricity for virtually every aspect of modern life. The blackout of 2003 was more than just a technical failure. It was a wake-up call about the fragility of modern civilization. Within moments of the power going out, the intricate systems we take for granted began to unravel. In New York City, over 600,000 people were trapped underground in subway systems. Elevators stopped between floors. Hospitals scrambled to activate backup generators, with critical patients hanging in the balance. The financial markets, the very engine of American economic power, ground to a complete halt. Emergency services were immediately overwhelmed. Police and fire departments lost communication systems. Cell phone networks collapsed. The 911 emergency system became virtually non-functional. In a city like New York, where every second counts, this was a potential disaster of unprecedented proportions. Dr. Robert Massey, an energy security expert, would later describe the event as a technological near-death experience. The electrical grid, he argues, is the most complex machine ever created by humans. It's a system so intricate that no single person fully understands its complete functionality. The cascading failures revealed something even more terrifying. Our electrical infrastructure is designed with a false sense of redundancy. What engineers believed were fail-safe systems were actually interconnected vulnerabilities waiting to be exploited. One small glitch in Ohio could, and did, take down entire regional systems. Cybersecurity experts have long warned about the grid's vulnerabilities. Unlike physical infrastructure, the electrical grid is now a prime target for potential cyber attacks. State-sponsored hackers, terrorist organizations, and sophisticated criminal networks have the capability to potentially trigger similar large-scale blackouts. In 2015, a chilling demonstration of this threat occurred in Ukraine. Hackers successfully took down portions of the electrical grid, leaving hundreds of thousands without power. Experts viewed it as a dry run, a potential blueprint for more extensive attacks on critical infrastructure. The economic implications are staggering. A comprehensive grid failure could potentially cost the United States trillions of dollars. The Department of Homeland Security has wargamed multiple scenarios, each more terrifying than the last. Their classified reports paint a grim picture of how quickly modern society could collapse without electricity. Consider the domino effect. Within days of a prolonged blackout, food distribution systems would fail. Water treatment plants would shut down. Communication networks would become unreliable or non-existent. The thin veneer of civilization is far more fragile than most people understand. Private sector preparedness is equally concerning. A 2019 study revealed that over 70% of critical infrastructure organizations had experienced multiple cyber attacks in the previous year. Yet, less than 40% felt fully prepared to handle a comprehensive grid failure. The human cost would be immeasurable. Hospitals would lose power within hours. Patients on life support would be at immediate risk. Urban areas would quickly become uninhabitable, with no water, no communication, and no way to distribute food or medical supplies. Military strategists have long considered the electrical grid a prime target for potential adversaries. A well-placed cyber attack or electromagnetic pulse could potentially disable more infrastructure than a conventional military campaign. During the Cold War, both the United States and Soviet Union developed specific strategies for grid disruption. The most vulnerable populations would suffer first. Elderly individuals, those with chronic medical conditions, and urban populations would be most at risk. The social infrastructure we take for granted would quickly break down. The most chilling realization is how close we remain to potential catastrophic failure. Our electrical infrastructure is a complex web of aging technology, interconnected systems, and increasingly sophisticated vulnerabilities. Each day, we walk a technological tightrope that could collapse with minimal warning. Renewable energy offers some hope, but it introduces its own set of challenges. Solar and wind power systems are equally susceptible to electromagnetic disruption. Their more complex inverter systems could potentially be even more vulnerable to sudden electrical surges. Government agencies have developed contingency plans, but these are more about survival than prevention. The Department of Homeland Security's strategies focus on maintaining critical infrastructure during and after a potential grid collapse. Emergency communication systems, hardened military networks, and strategic reserve power systems are part of these plans. Private sector innovation provides a glimmer of potential solutions. Companies like Tesla and other renewable energy providers are developing more resilient power storage and distribution technologies. Advances in battery technology and decentralized power generation could offer some protection against total grid failure. Yet, the most powerful protection remains awareness. Understanding the vulnerability of our electrical infrastructure is the first step toward meaningful preparation. Individual preparedness, having emergency supplies, understanding basic survival skills, maintaining alternative communication methods could make a significant difference. The 2003 blackout wasn't just a technical failure. It was a profound warning about the fragility of modern civilization. We live in a world so dependent on electricity that we've forgotten how vulnerable we truly are. One software glitch, one cyber attack, one electromagnetic pulse could change everything. Experts like Dr. Granger Morgan from Carnegie Mellon University have been sounding the alarm for years. Our electrical infrastructure is a legacy system operating in a world that no longer exists, Morgan argues. We're maintaining a 20th century grid to support a 21st century civilization. the potential for a comprehensive grid failure remains a clear and present danger. Climate change, increasing cyber threats, aging infrastructure, and geopolitical tensions all contribute to this ongoing risk. Each year, the probability of a catastrophic failure increases. What most Americans don't realize is how quickly society could unravel without electricity. Within days, major cities would become unrecognizable. The thin veneer of modern civilization would quickly give way to survival instincts. Urban centers would transform from bustling metropolises to potential danger zones. Financial systems would instantaneously collapse. Digital banking would cease to exist. Credit cards would become worthless pieces of plastic. The economic impact would be so severe that it could take years, if not decades, to recover. As technology continues to advance, so do the potential threats to our electrical infrastructure. Quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and increasingly sophisticated cyber capabilities create new vulnerabilities we're only beginning to understand. The story of the 2003 blackout and the potential for future grid failures is still being written. We remain both vulnerable and hopeful. Our technological civilization hangs in a delicate balance, protected by systems we barely understand, maintained by technologies that could fail in an instant.